Okay, today I'm going to read chapter 1 of Jack Strong and the Red Giant. I've just produced this little book. It's for my students at my school in Beijing, and so it's perfect for me to just read out loud. On the previous video to this, I've also put on the prologue, which is about one of the other characters in the novel. If you don't know much about the book, it's basically about a 12-year-old boy. We meet him at the beginning called Jack, and he leaves home, gets beaten up by the school bully, and he ends up on an alien spaceship. So this is chapter 1 where we originally meet him and see how he's feeling and what's going on in his life at the time. Okay, chapter 1, School's Out. Jack slammed the front door shut and quickly ran up the stairs. He went straight into the bathroom, locked the door, and looked into the small mirror by the sink. It was worse than he feared. There were swishes and squiggles of red, black, blue, green, and orange marker pen all over his face. He panicked. Not wanting to be seen like this by his mum and dad, he turned on the taps and frantically began to scrub his face with a large yellow sponge. It took almost 20 minutes of feverish scrubbing to remove every last mark. After he finished dabbing himself with a towel, he walked across the landing into his small, sparsely decorated bedroom and slouched down upon the bed. He had lost another pen fight. It was supposed to be 1 against 1, yet as soon as he said he wanted to fight, there were 5 or 6 boys and girls holding him down, scribbling and scrawling all over his face. He kept shouting at them to stop, but they just laughed and giggled, their pens thrusting and jabbing. Jack looked into the mirror one last time. Just for a moment he hoped that his birthmark had been washed away too. But one look told him it was still there, stretching all the way from his forehead to his chin like a big red smudge. Wiping his blue eyes dry, he put on his glasses, neatened his short brown hair, checked his face again for pen marks, and left his bedroom. The smell of food was now emanating from the kitchen and wafting up the steep flight of stairs. Eager to see what was for tea, he quickly rushed down the stairs, almost tripping over on the way, and ran through the living room into the kitchen. He was so hungry. His mind raced with the possibilities. Hamburgers, roast chicken, pepperoni pizza, sausages, anything so as long as it was delicious and what was more, lots of it. His heart sank. Upon the kitchen table was a pan of burnt pork chops, along with some equally burnt stringy onions, as well as what looked like a big dish of lumpy mashed potatoes. Next to these were also some heavily buttered slices of white bread and a bottle of tomato ketchup, Store's economy brand. His dreams of coming home to a plate of crisp chunky chips and a moist oven-cooked pizza had vanished yet again. Why couldn't he get something better for a change? But he was starving, and so he sat down across from his mum and dad and said nothing. He then grabbed a knife and fork from a small pile on the table and began to eat. Though as the gravy lacked salt and the mashed potatoes, well, everything. His dinner mainly consisted of making some rather messy pork chop sandwiches. This was, of course, after he had spooned off the black onions, given the pork chops a good helping of brown sauce, and pulled off some little bits of mould from the bread. A few minutes later, and it was time for dessert. His mum, cheeks reddening, put on some ragged grey oven gloves and brought out a hot, steaming dish of gooseberry crumble. He couldn't believe it. Not gooseberry crumble again. Jack hated gooseberry crumble. As far as he was concerned, it was quite possibly the most disgusting thing on earth, being nothing better than sour, green, slimy goo. Why can't we have something else for a change? He suddenly shouted out loud, anger rising in his chest. I hate gooseberry crumble. It's horrible. Nonsense, Jack, replied his mum in a soft, kind voice. It's good for you. It helps you grow into a big, strong lad. No, it's not, he spat, getting angrier. I hate it. Why can't we have something different for a change? Now, Jack, interrupted his dad in a stern voice, be nice to your mum. She's been cooking your dinner for a long time. I don't care. I'm sick of it. All we ever eat is gooseberry and rhubarb crumble. Why can't we eat some ice cream for a change? It's healthy, his mum continued. Besides, we've loads of gooseberry bushes in the back garden. We can't let them go to waste. You don't know how lucky you are. People would love to have what we have. Jack made a face, grunted again, but thought better about answering back. Besides, he was still hungry, and there was a red-hot jug of steaming yellow custard on the table. Still not wanting to eat the gooseberry, though, he got hold of a large wooden serving spoon and attempted to scoop off the top of the crumble from the green goo underneath. Immediately his dad stopped him. Jack, what have we told you about taking all the crumble? Leave some for us. But Dad, he whined. But nothing, he said, his brown eyes almost poking through his glasses. Stop being selfish and think about other people for a change. And that was the end of that. Soaking, Jack put a small dollop of gooseberry crumble in a chipped dessert bowl, followed by a couple of large spoonfuls of hot custard. He ate it in silence, gulping it down, mouthful after mouthful. The quicker the better, he thought. This didn't work very well, however, and every now and again a big slimy wedge of gooseberry goo would get stuck at the back of his throat or else at the top of his mouth, causing him to wince and grimace. Once he had finished, he got up and tried to leave the table, eager to watch some TV, only for his dad to stop him. Jack, don't forget it's your turn to wash up today. Oh, come on, Dad, he said. Give me a break. I want to watch some TV. No, it's your turn. Your mum has cooked the tea, so now you must wash up after her. Besides, it's the summer holidays now. You'll have plenty of time to watch TV in the coming weeks. Okay, whatever, Jack muttered under his breath. What did you say? Barked his dad. Nothing. Jack made his way to the kitchen sink and gripped the washing up bottle tightly, squeezing out a green jet of washing up liquid into the sink. He then turned on the hot water and watched as a mountain of frothy white bubbles arose like an island from the foaming sea. Jack, his dad said again, don't use too much washing up liquid. It all costs money. You only need to use a little. No, he bellowed back sarcastically. Well then, make sure you wash them properly this time. Last time you didn't do a good job and your mum had to wash them all again. As soon as his mum and dad left the kitchen, Jack began to wash up, flinging the cups, plates, pans and cutlery into the sea of bubbles. Not wanting to think about the pen fight again, he did the wiping and scrubbing as quickly as he could. He didn't care any correct order or way of doing things. He just wanted to get it all done and to get out of the kitchen as quickly as possible. He flung them in the drainer one by one, stacking them haphazardly on top of each other, until eventually a Mount Everest of pots, plates and pans arose from out of the drainer at least a foot high. As soon as he finished, he burst into the small living room, eager to watch some TV, where a man in a grey suit was talking on the news about the latest tourist to blast off into space. He was just about to plonk himself on the sofa when a sound like thunder came from the kitchen. Crash! Everybody sat up and turned around. Jack, what have you done? His mum and dad bellowed at once. They all rushed into the kitchen like a herd of stampeding wildebeest. All over the sticky yellow lino floor were an assortment of broken cups and plates, as well as several pans and a great many knives and forks. Oh, Jack, his mum whined. How are we going to replace all these? We haven't got the money. Even he, for once, was lost for words. But I didn't mean it, he finally stammered, embarrassed, feeling sorry both for himself and for them. Didn't mean it, his mum bellowed back. I've told you before about not rushing the washing up and stacking them properly. Why can't you listen, you stupid boy? I'm not stupid, he yelled back, the anger now becoming a flood. I was only trying to do my best. Try your best, she spat. You never try your best. All you do is please yourself and make excuses. No, I don't. I'm always helping out with the washing up and making cups of tea. Why can't I have a dishwasher like everybody else? He demanded. Because we can't afford it. I've told you before. Rubbish, he shouted. I'm sick of being poor. I'm sick of living in this run-down house. I'm sick of these second-hand clothes. I'm sick of not going abroad. I'm sick of school. I'm sick of this face. But most of all, I'm sick of you. He didn't mean to say this. It just slipped out. He couldn't help it. That's enough, Jack, demanded his dad. Stop shouting at your mum. Apologise to her at once. She does a lot for you. Clean this mess up and then get to your room. No, he roared. I'm leaving and I'm not coming back. With that, Jack stormed past them, knocking over a potted plant on the way, and left the house, slamming the front door behind him. They tried to follow, shouting and bellowing, but it was no use. Like a fox, he ran away into the evening as fast as he could and didn't look back. He would never see his parents again.